Peter Clausy, the VP of Capital Markets at Silver Bullet Mines, after the company signed an open purchase agreement for gold and silver concentrate, effective from April the 11th this year through to the end of next year, 2026, with a US-based purchaser, non-exclusive, unaffected by tariffs. Well, thank you very much for joining us as always. Peter, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me in today.
It's really good to be speaking to you. Now, of course, last time we spoke, it was in our live premiere. That was a good little session we did there. And you expected revenue from Super Champ by March 31st. So with this new concentrate sale agreement, can you confirm if the company remains on track to indeed meet that timeline, and what revenue might expect, what shareholders could expect from revenue?
Well, revenue is a very, very specific term defined by International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. So there's a difference between making a sale and reporting revenue. We have two sales. We have the two offtake agreements, but they don't technically qualify as revenue yet. So we can't recognize them as revenue quite yet, but that will happen this quarter.
Right. Okay. So that'll happen this quarter. Okay. And is that determined on, I know we're going to talk about the XRF in a moment. Is that determined on, is the price still TBC on your buyer's side?
Yes, we've had a lot of questions from shareholders about what kind of deal is it? What are you paying for? What are they paying for? What's FOB? And I'm happy to say here what we've told all of them individually. We're not revealing the details of each agreement. Those are confidential business matters. We can announce the results of those after the fact, what was paid, how much tonnage was sold. Okay. But we're not revealing the details of each individual contract.
Okay, so we'll wait to see that this quarter. Will you be able to announce in the first check, even if you can't disclose the number, or are we going to have to wait until there's some more official results from the company?
I think the receipt of the first check is a material event that need be disclosed. I don't know if the amount of it or the tonnage is material, but the fact of it being received probably is. Yeah. Again, that's an issue for management to discuss, but I think that's the right answer.
Okay, good. Now, the XRF readout from the Super Champ Doré bar there, so 82.6% silver, 4.1% gold, and you've got about 3% copper, 6% tin. So you're selling that as it is, I think. It's not pure silver. But what about the other credits there? I mean, do they attract different value with the Doré bar, or can you interpret that the mine has these other credits that are worth exploring?
Right. So this is the XRF provided to us by the buyer.
Right.
So it's not our data. We've been very clear that it's the buyer's data that he shared with us. Assuming his data is right, it would correlate with our November 2024 news release where we spoke of elevated values of gold and the silver. And as one shareholder pointed out to me, this is probably a gold mine with silver credits.
Okay.
It sounds funny, but he might be right. If the 4.5% silver is correct, that means out of 100 pounds, you're getting 4.5 pounds of gold.
Yeah.
4.5 times 16 is, call it 70. So it's 70 ounces at 30 USD an ounce is a lot of money for 100 pounds of rock. So if you do the math that way, there's more gold value than there is silver value. Now, there's a fair amount of copper in there as well, according to the XRF, but copper at $5 doesn't give you a lot of value in terms of hard dollars. What I find really important on that XRF isn't just the silver values and the gold values, is there's nothing deleterious in there.
Right, yeah, okay.
Right? There's nothing that's going to punish the company where we have to pay debits back to the buyer.
Sure, yeah. Well, of course, we've talked about this being a big silver mine. You've got the grades of silver we're going to talk about at the moment from that first dynamite blast. So you're saying it could be a gold mine with silver credits, but I guess you just haven't found the gold yet, so you can't sort of say that.
Well, we had the gold in the multi-element analysis in November of 2024, and now the buyer has the gold in its XRF. So further work is being done.
Okay.
We send samples out to third-party labs for multi-element, and we'll get analyses back. We've also sent samples out to potential buyers who are running, each buyer's running its own analysis, and we'll get that analysis back as well.
Okay, good. And those assays continue to impress, don't they, at Super Champ? So the first dynamite blast, which is part of your adit, I mean, you've got some incredible assays again, 217 from pan material, 572 ounces per ton silver in waste rock. I mean, what's the
Yeah, I was out doing presentations on Thursday, and then yesterday, being Good Friday, I was in the car driving around meeting investors at their house. And the question I often got was, "Are you sure you didn't move the decimal point one place over? That's 21.7. No, it's 217, which is incredible when you consider that Bonanza silver, according to common wisdom, is 30 ounces of silver per ton. And we're running over, that was 217.
Yeah.
We've previously announced at least 4 from this area, running over 1,000 ounces per ton.
Mm-hmm.
And as you just pointed out, even the waste rock is 7.5 ounces of silver per ton. Other people can make a mine out of 7.5 ounces of silver per ton. So it's just an astonishingly rich area.
It's incredible, really. So how are you getting on with the developing of that adit there, with the 2 blasts that you've done being related to that process? You got an updated timeline on that?
So I've been on site, so I have a pretty good mental picture of what they're doing.
Okay.
There's a hill, and the hill falls off this way. The field team is putting in an adit here at the bottom of the hill, and then at the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
They're both going to intersect the vein, which allows then for mining in 2 directions.
Okay.
Which increases safety and reduces production risk.
Sure.
The blasting is going well. It is softer rock than we encountered at the Buckeye, but I don't know what its specific hardness is, but it's going well.
Good. Good to hear. Good to hear. And just generally then with Silver Bullet at a corporate level, I really want to get to this self-financing level. I mean, I am putting you on the spot a little bit here, but would you say that with what's going on at the moment, do you think you could achieve that self-financing model this year?
Yeah. We've talked about this a lot at a management and at a board level and with investors. When we look at the timeline of what we think we can do, the fact we own our own mill and we control those processes, the fact that our OPEX is relatively low, our capex is minimal, we're confident that we should be able to hit that self-sustaining model this year.
Okay. And when you start to go sort of into underground mining, would that transition here as you evolve into from low-cost surface to underground, could that have an impact? Are you thinking about that already?
It's not that expensive for us. It's blast powder, timber, and bolting.
Right. Okay. So you're pretty happy with the prospects there. Okay.
If I asked anyone else in the mining industry, would they rather be in our position or in their position, chasing a vein or searching for the edge of a porphyry or finding some silver in alluvial than having to chase it back up the mountain to the source? People take our position any day of the week.
Okay, good. I know you've got some drilling, which is, of course, is always exciting for exploration companies. So that's planned for the summer or the fall of this year to help confirm that vein structure. And I know when we've spoken before, a question came up about whether you'd go for defining a resource estimate or indeed just effectively focus on, guided, I think it was guided excavation, you said, and just going for it. So, I mean, any further thoughts on this or not yet?
A firm decision hasn't been made one way or another.
Sure.
Getting an NI 43-101 resource estimate costs time and money. So I need to be shown that there's a business case for having it.
Mm-hmm.
Having the resource estimate just to have and wave around is not a business case.
Yeah, sure.
So how does it advance the company's interests to spend that much money to get a document?
Sure, yeah, okay.
And we'll be able to make those calls after the 2 adits intersect the vein, after we get the drilling set up to test the structure. We think we know which way the vein goes, but better to be safe than sorry.
Indeed.
And once those facts are in management's hands, we can make a decision as to whether or not we need a resource estimate.
Indeed. And given you've got 2 offtake agreements and looking to increase the throughput there, I think you also mentioned that you would perhaps be open, or the company would perhaps be open to processing other third-party material at your mill to just as an additional revenue stream. I mean, is that something that's still being looked at here? Or you're quite busy as a company at the moment, I would say?
We are quite busy. The original business plan that was formulated back in 2020 was to build the mill, so if we encountered any downtime at our mines, we could process third-party material.
Sure.
As you just pointed out, Mark, I don't see any downtime for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
But if something unexpected were to happen, we have the capability of processing third-party material to generate revenue and cash flow.
Good.
But I don't see that happening for some time.
Excellent. And is there any further sort of tinkering with the mill that you need to do with some cash that you've got in the bank?
No, the field team tinkered with it to ensure that it could process the Super Champ material very effectively. And there were small things like you increase the rate of flow out into the coarse ore grinder. How do you increase the rate of feed into the fine grinder? A lot of little things.
Sure.
And to the best of my knowledge, they have it perfect now.
Okay. So all in all, then, I mean, is it fair to say you're sort of sitting fairly pretty at the moment as a company? The next big thing would be that check coming in.
Well, every day brings a new stress with it. We're always looking for risks. How do you manage those risks? How do you get out in front of those risks? And then there are the realities of actually being a mining company, and the realities of everyday mining, where shovels break and things don't quite turn out the way you expect them to. But I think we've done a good job of managing the risks. We have an excellent field team. Those guys they know exactly what they're doing. So, I don't want to say we're sitting pretty, because that's just setting yourself up for the gods to smite thee down. But we're doing okay.
Doing okay. Good. Well, good to hear. So thank you very much, as always, for your time today. Peter Clausy, the VP of Capital Markets at Silver Bullet Mines.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.